Hello, everybody. How are you guys? It's so good to see all of you. Happy Tuesday. Hi, Mary Flynn. Hey, Tech Death. Hey, John. Welcome. Hi, Sierra. Hi, Tina Baldwin. Hi, Louisa. Hey, Jacqueline. How are you? Hello, Paris. It's good to see you. Hi, CJK. Hey, Just Pam. Hey, Miss Thang. Hi, Corgi Mama. I'm glad you're listening too. Hi, Lipsha. Hey, Jennifer. Oh, hon, I hope you feel better. I'm glad you're here. Hey, Melodramatic Monday. Hi, Michelle. Hey, Zooter. Hey, Rosewood. Hey, Stacy D. Really glad you made it. Hi, Sharon. Good to have you guys here. How's everybody's week been going? I know we're just a couple days into it, but seems like there's been a lot going on out there. Hey, Tamara. So good to have you guys here. I think it's going to be a good discussion tonight. I kind of changed my focus on the live at the last minute because I was so taken by the Captain Howdy's new video that he dropped this week, over the weekend, that I just, hey, Pigeon Mac, good to see you. But so after I watched his video, I was like, I think this would be a really good time to talk about rabbit holes in the Delphi case and kind of have a discussion about some of the rumors and things that we have had that's been in this case practically since day one, and how they kind of have a life of their own. And you know, the Captain is amazing. I can't say enough about him. He just makes incredible videos and really makes us think about all kinds of things, sometimes stuff that we don't even want to think about. And I respect him so much. And I am Just Pam. And he is, he ranks up right there with True Crime Jesus. I love both of their work because they're off the beaten path. They don't make videos like anyone else out there on Delphi. And so that's one of the reasons, but also just because I respect them as individuals. I think that they really care about the case. And I think that, you know, it comes out in what the content that they create. And I know, listening to the Captain over the years, I I know that he, really relies on facts and wants to stick to facts, because I've heard him talk about things and he worries about things that could hurt the case. So all of those things are important to me, and I'm glad that they're important to him. But if you guys haven't had a chance to go take a look at his newest video, I'm going to drop the video, the web, the URL, sorry, in the chat so you guys can grab it, and make sure that you go out and take a look at the video and subscribe if you are not, because you're missing out on him. But he talks about a lot of what has gone on over the years with Delphi, and a lot of the theories and speculation that's out there around the case. And hey, Modern Crime and Cards, good to see you. And I thought it would be really good to see what we can kind of come up with on other things to talk about around the case when it comes to some of those theories, some of those thoughts that people have put out there as truths over time. Hi, Bridget. Good to see you. Yeah. Bridget, we've all kind of been down that rabbit hole a few times. I know I have. When I first got onto Reddit, before I started my subreddit, and I was hanging around the Delphi subs on Reddit, I was going down so many rabbit holes. There were so many good theories about POIs and possible scenarios that happened, and I was just taken, on this journey kind of. And you start reading this stuff and listening to other people's views, and keeping your mind open as to whether or not this is probable or possible. And there's just so many. Hey, Unsolved, how are you? Good to see you. And I just think that is really easy to do. We've all been there. And it's easy to get caught up. And before you know it, you're deep in the rabbit hole and you're not sure how to get back out. And it can take a bit for you to get back out. So I'm sure, like I said, that we've all been there. You start imagining all sorts of things that may or may not have happened or been possible. Yeah, Digital, exactly. Because when you start looking at one rabbit hole, and then you get to the bottom of some of them, they're connected to another rabbit hole that takes you on another journey. And yeah, and before long, you're so far underground that you don't know which way's up. So, and it is so easy to get drawn there. I love Fig. I love Skip. You guys know that Skip is a close friend of mine, and Fig is as well. And they both bring a lot to the case, and I like their critical thinking more than anything. I think that is what draws me to both of them, and the way that they explain things, Yeah, Rosewood, I agree. I think it's okay to think outside the box as well, but we shouldn't go floating up into the clouds. I like that. I really do. Um, because there's nothing wrong with discussing things, but you can't. I've said this before, when we're thinking about a possible person that we're looking at in our minds of possibly being the person who committed these horrible murders, you have to be able to answer the questions that Cop Facts has talked to us about. Perry Freeman, he's talked to us about motive. He's talked to us about means. You have to be able to, that person has to check all of those boxes. You can't just have them check a few and leave that one unchecked. That's not how it works in investigations. They have to check all the boxes. And I think sometimes it's easy while we're in those rabbit holes to try to force feed ourselves the whole theory that we're working on and make it fit around that person. We've all been there. We've all done it. So it's not throwing anybody under the bus or anything. But man, I agree with Michelle. There are some really outlandish theories and craziness around this case, and it does get aggravating when you're trying to make sense of things and stay grounded within fact. Hi, Matt. Good to see you. Welcome. They are extremely intelligent gentlemen. They truly are. And no, they don't. They are very respectful of other people's opinions, and they're really good at talking to you about them. It's not like they have to be right. I think that's one of the things that I take away from this case most of all. And I'll be the first one to stand up and say it. I don't care if I'm right. I just want the case solved. My theory or what I think or feel, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that bridge guy gets caught, or if there's more than one, that they get caught and that they're brought to justice. That's all I care about. And so, it's really, like I said, it's really easy to get lost in all of the, I hate to say pomp and circumstance, but there is so much stuff out there that's for entertainment purposes, more so, I think, than really stopping to think about how that sounds or if that's possible. So let's kind of jump in and talk a little bit about some of the stuff, because there's a lot. There is a lot. And the captain touched on a few. He only talked, "Hey, Danger Dave, how are you tonight? It's good to see you." Alicia, hi, I missed you. How are you? So good to see you. And hey, Alicia, I want to ask you a question later about Flora and getting bracelets made for Flora, because we're thinking of doing that, and I wanted to talk to you about that. So I didn't really know where to start, because like I said, there is just so much out there that's been put out there. But let's talk about the dog walking lady. she's kind of like this person that was created and talked about, and supposedly the story goes that she ran into Bridge Guy that day on the 13th of February. She was out walking her dogs. She ran into this man at the southeast end of the bridge, and they stopped and actually spoke. Now, I don't believe it. I don't believe it because I believe law enforcement when law enforcement says that no one saw Bridge Guy that day. No one saw Bridge Guy that day. And I still go back to that. And there are people, like I said, it's possible. It's very possible that she was there, that she talked to him, and all of that. And law enforcement obviously may have interviewed her, and awesome, Alicia. Thank you. I just want the information because we'll help you. We're trying to do that for Flora. I just really think that people kind of latch onto that stuff, and we've talked about it before. We don't really have a timeline for Delphi. We have no timeline that has ever been given to us by law enforcement. We only know the timeline from when the Snapchat picture was taken of Abby by Libby on the bridge. And we know that that was taken at 2:07. And we know that Bridge Guy showed up 6 minutes later because they told us that. And that's pretty much all we know. We don't know a lot more than that. And the timeline that has been put out there that we've all gone off of for the last 5.5 years was put out by the family, by Libby's family. Becky Patty basically told everyone, you know, what the timeline was, because this is what happened. The girls wanted to go to the bridge, to the trails, what time they left, what time they arrived, and were dropped off, and then what happened after that when Derek went to pick them up. So it really makes things hard to know what's fact and what isn't when we don't have a timeline, because that's the number one thing that law enforcement needs. Before law enforcement can start an investigation, they have to figure out the timeline, the who, what, when, and where. And it's really absolutely important for them to do that. And law enforcement has a timeline, guaranteed they have one. Why they haven't come out and told us what that timeline is, I will never understand. I will never understand why law enforcement hasn't told us time of death. I don't understand why law enforcement has not told us about, I mean, they've kind of given us an idea of where the girls died. And they said, Tobe said everything happened quickly and it happened at that spot. It was over. So we have an affidavit from Ron Logan. And now we have that because it was just recently in the last few months released. Before that, we had people saying that Ron Logan was Bridge Guy. Absolutely had to be him. He dressed like him. He looked like him. And I have to frankly say, I've never gotten that. I've never once thought that Ron Logan looked like Bridge Guy or matched it. So I don't see that. But you know, that was huge. And we now know, because of the affidavit, hey Grizz, it's so good to see you. How are you? I'm so happy to see you. It's like, with Ron Logan, we now know what's wrong, Lipsha? It's my rule. It's just the rule that's it's my rule. And we have to respect the rules, and we also have to respect my moderators. And I'm sorry if you feel that way. Anyway, so I just feel like sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. Where Ron Logan's concerned, we now know that that law enforcement was focused on him very early on in the case. They were really looking at him for being Bridge Guy. I think even to the point where Ron Logan went away for a long time for a violation of probation that was probably pretty harsh as far as the terms of his incarceration, because they arrested him, put him in jail, and from everything he said, he was kept in solitary confinement. He was just, it was just not so I just really I don't know. I just really think that there was a lot going on about Ron Logan early on. And it's very possible that he was treated differently regarding that parole violation than someone else may have been. So there's that. I don't think that Ron Logan's Bridge Guy. I just don't. I do think that it's odd that he lied. But I do have a couple of questions about that whole situation. But I just don't see him for that. So we've got that going on early on. We've got people saying that the girls never made it to the trails that day. That's a rumor that's out there, that the girls never went to the trail and that other things happened to them and they were killed somewhere else and brought to the trails and dumped there at night. Hey Meow, so good to see you. I don't see that as a real possibility, because I think there's too many players around that would have to be involved to make that be true, rather than I don't know, when I stop and think about that whole theory, it would make a whole bunch of people have to be involved in some big conspiracy, and I just don't see that. Exactly, meow. If that had happened and they weren't there, who took the picture? There are people that have said that that picture was taken at a different time. It wasn't on the 13th, that it wasn't on that day. You know, things can be doctored, texts can be faked, pictures can be faked. We all know this. There's all kinds of things that happen on the internet with doctored photos, doctored text messages, hacking, people hacking into all kinds of accounts. And one of the other rumors is that the Kleins were hacked and that somebody actually hacked them and is making it look like they're guilty. That's another rumor that's out there. I've had people email me that scenario. Suzanne, I don't know if it was a pig roast. I do know there was a party at Ron Logan's house. That is a fact that weekend. There is a rumor that there was another party, not just the one at Ron Logan's. Hey, Perry, how are you? How are you? Oh, yes, we have to keep an open mind. There's definitely a lot more to this case than we are aware, for sure. For sure. Let's see. They had I'm just saying that there's people out there that think that they were hacked and it's being made to look like it's them. The same can be said about Ron Logan. If you were going to do this crime, and why would you pick someone's property to leave them on? Well, if you were trying to get that person to look guilty, wouldn't that be something that would make them look pretty guilty if they were found murdered on their property? So yeah, you know, those are obviously things that make you wonder. So getting back to the Kleins, I mean, I don't know about the hacking. I do think that there is possibility that that could happen, but I think it's unlikely because of the enormous amount of CSAM that they found on different devices within that house. I think we've learned that Kagan admitted he had a problem. He admitted that he had this problem. And I definitely think, based upon going back and rereading his transcript of the interview that he did with the two detectives, Dave Vito and the other detective, Wilson, I think is his last name, that Tony Klein was Emily Ann. I just cannot stop thinking about that. Kagan was absolutely shocked to find out that there were young children, babies, toddlers on those devices. In fact, his reaction was such disgust that to me there was absolutely no way that he knew that ahead of time. And we know that Emily Ann was, you know, talking about some really strange things about fathers and being attracted to older men and all of that. So that part really bothers me about Tony. We know that Tony's past has come out, and he has a record of being a very violent, physically violent person to his family members, his children. Those are not in his favor. Those are red flags. I still can't get my arms around the fact that they're actually part of this. I think somehow they are, but I'm not sure how yet. I don't know. I can't put my finger on what that could be, because I have so many other questions now since I took the leap into the rabbit hole, so to speak, of the Flora case. And trust me, there are some holes over there. I still go back to, and I can't get this, you guys can help me here. I don't know. I cannot understand why Abby and Libby were not found the night of the 13th. It makes no sense. Skip went to Delphi at the end of May. He walked all over that place. He walked everywhere, across the bridge, in the woods, through the cemetery. He went everywhere, through the woods, all of it. And he told me there's absolutely no way that those girls were not found the night of the 13th. He just doesn't believe, he doesn't understand it either. He's like, it's not that big of a place. And when you're sitting here talking about the fact that you have 200 to 300 people out there all over those woods that night searching with flashlights, you cannot tell me that that section just happens to be the section that nobody checks. When you have everybody out there questioning why there's a pickup truck parked right there at the cemetery gate, right at the gate where right down over that hill is the girls. If you look at the photographs where Pat Brown's truck is parked, seriously, you guys, right over that hill, probably 100 feet down, that's where the girls were. And there's no way, I agree with Jennifer 100%. There is no way those girls were killed anywhere else. I find it very difficult to believe that. Libby was 200 pounds. A person who's dead, weight at 200 pounds is not going to be an easy person to haul around. How are you going to do that? And especially if we're talking about one person involved. That hill we're talking about from the cemetery down is steep. This is a very steep hill. But if you watch the videos of Ron Logan, he takes 2 different reporters on a walk down that hill to where the girls were. And I ask myself, why weren't they found? Did somebody steer searchers away from that area that night? Was there a person in law enforcement or in the volunteer fire department that were steering people away from that area on purpose because they knew? I mean, how do you, it's never, to me, it has just never made sense. They have a list of every searcher. Law enforcement took a list, and everybody who came to search had to sign in. I think they had to give their address and phone number. I know for sure they had to give their phone numbers. Now, whether or not that was truthful information, I don't know that people were checking IDs. That's something that also came to mind. What if somebody was in the search party and put down fake names and phone numbers? One of the things law enforcement tells us when they're talking about investigations of murder is you always look to see who's in the crowd. You look to see who's in the crowd at the press conferences. You look to see who's in the crowd when they're doing searches for the missing. You look to see who's in the crowd who comes back for vigils if the people are missing. I love you too, Jennifer. And you look at the people, you always have to look at those people because it's very proven, and the facts and the data tell us that oftentimes the perpetrator is in those groups of people. They're watching. They're there. They want to see what it is that they've done. They want to watch. They almost relive what has just happened by doing so, and it makes them feel powerful. It makes them feel in control because nobody knows that it's them. And oh yeah, Meow, I agree. Whoever was standing out there watching that fire burn that night, yeah, exactly. Yep. And so I've often wondered, did they interview all the searchers? Did law enforcement go through and actually sit down and talk to all the people that searched? It's just, so there's a lot there. There's a lot to question about that. There's a rumor that the girls were taken to a shack in the woods. True Crime Investigates did a video he flew a drone from the bridge on the southeast side of the property. On that side, he stayed on that side of the creek. And if you go down, I don't know how far, I want to say maybe a mile, there's a shack in the woods. He found it with the drone, and he shows it in one of his videos. And there's people out there that believe the girls were taken there, that they were walked down the private driveway through the woods to that shack. Now, I don't think there's probably, I don't know if there's any proof of that or not, but you would think with law enforcement out there that they too would have found the shack, this little building, and they would have looked at it. Now, the captain talks about a garage in his video that was searched multiple times. And you know, those are rumors. Those are things that people dive down the rabbit holes on. There was another dilapidated building right at the entrance where the girls were dropped off, a little off to the side on the left-hand side in the woods. I think it's completely fallen down now. I don't even think you can tell that it was a building anymore. But 5 years ago, you could. And it was still really rustic, and part of it was falling apart. But I often wondered if Bridge Guy was exiting and coming up out of that gully area where the girls were, if he would have hidden in there. And that's a rumor as well around the case, that was where he hung out while Derek was looking for the girls and while everyone was showing up. Now, I feel that Bridge Guy would have been seen had he stuck around. And I think that it's hard for me to imagine that someone can commit these kinds of crimes, this horrific murder, and we know that it was horrendous because in the Ron Logan affidavit it talks about the bloody crime scene. So he's got to have DNA on him. He's got to have blood on him. And what does he do? Does he wash himself in the creek? Did he bury a bag ahead of time and have clothes there that he could have changed into? There's been all kinds of conjecture as to what was in his coat. Everybody's heard, that's followed the case, the puppy. There was a puppy in his coat. I don't believe that. But yeah, there was a puppy. And there were dolls. He left a bunch of dolls at the crime scene. There is, there's been speculation and conjecture on how the girls were left and what their positioning of their bodies were. I think that we already know by the FBI detective who wrote I guess she's not a detective, is she? The FBI lady who wrote the Ron Logan affidavit talks about the staging of the crime scene. Yes, CJK, there are people out there that absolutely believe Bridge Guy has a puppy inside his jacket. And that he brought a puppy and used a puppy as a ruse to get the girls to comply. But, as far as what happened at the crime scene, we've heard non-secular. I have gone back and tried to find where Robert Ives said this. I've not seen it in any of his interviews where he said it live. Someone has told me it was in a printed article where he was interviewed and they wrote it in the article. And I often wonder if that's something that the reporter embellished on, or if they told him he should never have said that, and so it was scrubbed. They got it scrubbed off the internet as best that they could. But because we all know that ISP doesn't like to let anything out about that crime scene. So I don't think that there was sexual assault, Danger Dave. I don't think there was time for a sexual assault. Now, does that mean a physical sexual assault between Bridge Guy and the girls? That's what I'm talking about. There are other ways to sexually assault someone. And I don't know if that happened or not. There are also rumors about that. The captain talks about the fact that there is a backwards F, the letter F, as in Frank, that was carved into a tree. And was it a rune? What does that mean? And I think there's something with gaming. Somebody said something about with gaming that's a thing, this backward F. See, Tamara, that's what I mean. I've never been able to find it. I have all of Robert Ives's live interviews. I have all of his things. I have it all on my subreddit. And I have never heard that man say that. So I don't know what where it is at. And I would really like to see it, because I firmly believe either it's something that was embellished, or it's one of those things that was mentioned and it's just grown over time and everybody believes absolutely he said it. But anyway, if that's true, then, that wouldn't surprise me, because I do believe that this person has some really messed up ideas about sin and religion. I believe that this guy thinks he's God and that he is invincible. I firmly believe that about him. I firmly believe that he's so bold in how he did this crime in the middle of the day, not caring that anybody might be out there, either whether to hear him, see him, hear them. He didn't care. Wow, Michelle, that's kind of interesting, because if she says the backwards F in Korean means laughing, so could he be laughing at law enforcement? I mean, that's the first thing that kind of comes to mind. So, thank you, Alicia. Yeah, see, there's a lot of things that have been retracted and scrubbed that were said early on. What do you mean, what's wrong with Sonny? Joseph? What's wrong with Sonny? I don't know. I haven't heard there's anything wrong with her. Okay, Danger Dave. Be safe out there. I mean, I firmly believe that Bridge Guy is laughing every day. He believes that he got away with this. It's going to be 6 years in just a few short months. And he feels that he has gotten away scot-free. And he is like, he's looking at them, and saying, you guys think you know all this about me, because that's what Doug Carter told him in February of this year. We know a lot about you. And yeah, you know so much about him, but you haven't caught him yet. And he is that's really weird. We know that Bridge Guy took things from the girls. We at least know what was in the affidavit, that there was a piece of clothing missing. We also know that there's rumors out there that locks of hair were taken from each of the girls. That's out there. Jewelry, I've heard jewelry was taken from one of the girls. So there is just, I mean, we could go on and on and on, and that's not even talking about the POI stuff, where the rumors are about that. Hi, guys. Sorry about that. Oh, I will try that. Thank you, Sierra. I hadn't heard that. Ugh. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm fine. I just had to hit my inhaler. You know what's funny? I have not had that on a live stream since way back in June, you guys. So hopefully it's just a one-time thing. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I know that's got to be weird when you guys are watching it, and I want you guys to know that I'm I'm hanging in there. So I don't remember where I was or where we were, but I hope you guys are talking to each other and and having a conversation while I'm off trying to catch my breath. I'm fine. Thank you so much. I will definitely try the peppermint for sure. They can be, Sierra. I had a really bad one. Oh, it's been about a month ago. And I was alone when I had it. And man, it's rough. It's really scary when everything just tightens up and you can't get your breath. It's crazy. But so where were we? We were talking about the crime scene, and we were talking about a lot of the stories. Of course, we have to hit on the Dave Erskine texts. There's been so many things said and written about those. Anna made the comment that we shouldn't take we need to take those with a grain of salt. He was in pain, he was angry, and all of those things when he said that. So I try to remember that of what she said about those texts when she was asked about them. Yeah, Sharon, I do. Back in June, I was doing my nebulizer like 5 times a day. But it's gotten better. So I'm not sure what got it started tonight. You never know, right? But I always feed him. He's actually on, my cat is actually on special food from the vet for urinary tract so that he doesn't get the crystals and the problems that male cats can get. I've lost a cat to that, and I don't want it to happen to him. So he's on a prescription diet food. Yeah, I think it is Hills. Hey, Molly. Welcome. Hey, Cheryl. Yeah, it does. I will probably, when I'm done with my live tonight, I will probably hit my nebulizer. And it's like, so anyway, let's get back to talking about what's going on here with some of the rumors. I mean, there's just, like I said, there's been some really odd ones that are really hard to imagine. I've heard that there was a lot of activity in the creek. I know that there's a rumor out there that Bridge Guy came via the creek and left via the creek. And I've heard both drove, and I've also heard that he drove a vehicle. I've also heard that he drove a ATV and came right through the water. Yeah, I do. I use DuoNeb. Sorry, Pam. I use DuoNebs too. I'm okay. I'm okay, Allie. Thank you so much for thinking of me. And I wondered about that too, Remy's, because I'm like, that's, you're going to hear an ATV. You're going to, you're going to hear it. Now, there are some POIs in this case that absolutely had ATVs. They talk about it. They talk about going into the woods with them and driving all around. And there's more than one. So there's people that say you can drive in the woods on an ATV all the way to Logansport from the bridge. I don't know if that's true, but that's a rumor that you can drive on an ATV all the way through the woods to Logansport. So, I mean, yeah, Cheryl, it's coming here too. I'm in the Midwest. I'm right next door to Delphi. I'm in Illinois. And yeah, it's coming. Fall is going to be upon us within a month, I think. And they talk about parties. That's what I was going to say. Somebody had brought up their party at Ron Logan's that weekend before the murders. Well, there was also a rumor that there was a party at the Mears farm in a barn, and that a girl was sexually assaulted that night. That's also a rumor that I have heard. And I mean, there's, like I said, there's just so much that you can just get lost in the speculation and who said what and where. And I agree with Perry. We have to keep an open mind because I just believe that there are so many layers to this case. And I do believe we are all going to be shocked right off of our chairs when we find out who this person is and how this all went down. I really do think that there's times when I really do believe that we have it all wrong and that we aren't even close to figuring out what happened that day. And I know it seems pretty straightforward. He came across the bridge, he kidnapped him, he took him down the hill, walked him across the creek and murdered them. I know that's what everybody thinks happened, but did it really? Welcome back, you guys. And so you're right, Molly. No one saw Abby and Libby either. That's another thing I have an issue with. There's a few. I have like 5 things that I just can't stop thinking about. If there were so many people out there that day. Oh yeah, Remy's, you are so right. It is going to make a fabulous movie someday, or a book. What happens when we find out that this may not have gone down the way we think it actually happened. Just because, unless law enforcement has more on the video and more audio to actually know where he walked them, where he took them, we don't know. I agree with the captain that it's good to talk about it and that it's good to go over the theories. And we can learn a lot from each other by talking about what we think may have happened. Oh, Melissa, I'm sorry. Well, you can always watch the replay. I know it may not be the same because you can't interact in the chat, but I know that I appreciate you being here. I'm so glad that you were able to be here. Oh, good Lord, Alicia. Kagan told you that? Oh, I'm not surprised. I am absolutely not surprised that somebody wouldn't want a book deal out of it. It's really important to know, like I said, it's hard to know what we think we know when we don't have all the facts. And we just don't. And I've said from day one, we don't know if that timeline is actually the actual timeline of events. And I wish that law enforcement would come out with that at least. If they don't do anything else, could they at least give the public a timeline? I mean, there's a lot of things that they're keeping to themselves that Bridge Guy would be the only one to know. The timeline's not. I just don't get it. I do think that it's odd that they weren't found that night. We have the rumor that there was screaming at 2:30 in the morning in the middle of the in the woods, and there were searchers out there that heard the screams. I don't think that you can discount that. And I do believe that they know who it is. I don't have any doubts anymore that law enforcement isn't on to Bridge Guy. I think they're on to him. They know who it is. They need to they need more evidence. They're building their case. They may or may not get there this year. I was hoping that something would break this year. Maybe it still will. I'm going to keep my hope. Yeah, Michelle, Sean Harmon had his issues for sure. And he suffered a great deal of trauma in his life, and it's sad that he his life had to end in the fashion that it did. I feel bad about that. Sean was in my chat a few times after I started my channel. He firmly and absolutely believed that his father was Bridge Guy, and I just hope he finds some peace now. Well, Alicia, there's people that, that was the other thing that I always thought was funny about Kagan. He said he didn't know how to get to Delphi, yet he was in Delphi for football games when he was in high school. And I'm like, well, either he's not, maybe he's slow or has some impairment and doesn't know, directions or whatever, because straight down 25, straight down the Hoosier Heartland Highway from his house is Delphi. So I don't know how he wouldn't know, because I'm sure that he and his father many, many times went that way as they were heading to Indianapolis to catch an airplane to go to Vegas. So, I have too, Dave. I've always had a problem with the timeline. It just didn't make sense to me. There was a couple of things about it. It's just never made a whole lot of sense. But that doesn't mean that it's not true. Doesn't mean that what Mike and Becky have put out there is not true. I'm not saying that at all. It's just crazy. I think we all see something different. And I'll say this, Meow and Unsolved and I were on a three-way call the other day together. And we were looking at a picture and I saw something in this picture. I mean, it just jumped out at me. It was this plain as day. I could see it. And I was like, you guys, do you see this? And it was hilarious because neither one of them at first could see what I was seeing. And the more they looked, and finally, after a circle was drawn around what I was seeing, then they were able to kind of see it, but still not to the same as clearly as I saw it. And so that was a complete and absolute picture perfect example of pareidolia, and me seeing something and them not being able to. And so, we just have to remember when we're looking at this case to not dismiss things so quickly as being untrue or not possible. And I think that's yeah, I know, Meow. I know. I'm well aware. I remember. And yeah, we all perceive things differently. So I definitely think Bridge Guy brought stuff with him. I'm absolutely certain of that, to commit that crime that day. Hey, Candace, thank you so much for your super sticker. How kind of you. Thank you for showing your support. I appreciate it very much. What a beautiful puppy you have in that picture. That's a Doberman, correct? Looks like a Doberman to me. Rosewood, I've often wondered the same thing. There is a lot of if you're a person who is into numerology, there's a lot of numerology around these cases. And you can't dismiss it because this killer could be using numbers to taunt police, to send messages. There's just all kinds of things. And in fact, people have talked about the dates being verses from books in the Bible. So who's to say that that's not true? Criminals have a reason, and these kind of killers have reasons for what they do. They don't just kill for no reason. They really do have a reason. And this guy, in my opinion, is organized and very, he planned this. He knew what he was doing. There's just so much, you guys. I've learned a lot over the 6 years nearly of covering this case and following it and reading everything I could get my hands on about it, and all the interviews, all the speculation. And all I can go back to say is it's kind of my motto for my channel, and it's behind the crime door where nothing is ever as it seems. And it's exactly true for this case. Nothing about this case is as it seems. And I just believe that. I just do. I also believe that a lot of times when we're looking at this stuff and we try to get real elaborate with what we're thinking or whatever, it's usually keep it simple. It's the simple answer in front of you 9 times out of 10. And it's overlooked because it is so simple. And I still say that about Bridge Guy. Bridge Guy is hiding in plain sight. Absolutely, in my opinion, this man is living amongst everyone. He is absolutely living amongst everyone. And they do not know it's him. And I go back to BTK because he's a perfect example of that. He lived in plain sight for years. 30 years this man lived amongst his neighbors, his church-going friends. He was a pillar in his community and was well known by everyone. Maybe not liked, thought was weird by some, but not the people in his church. They respected him. He was the president of his congregation. And nobody, absolutely no one, including his family, his wife, his daughter, his son, none of them suspected that this man had a second life, a secret life, and that he was murdering women and men and children. Nobody. And he was doing it to his neighbors. I mean, this guy was the same kind of a killer. You know, he did it in broad daylight as well, and did it right next door practically to where he lived. And I'm telling you, when that happened, I have friends who lived there, and they were like, it was crazy when it was happening because everyone was scared to death. They knew that there was this killer out there, and then he kind of went silent, but they knew that he'd never been caught. And here this guy gets caught, and everybody was like, you've got to be kidding me. I absolutely guarantee you that Bridge Guy goes to church. Bridge Guy is religious. In his mind, he is religious. He is God-fearing. He's doing God's work. Yes, Alicia, I agree with that. Yep, he is the type that would commit this murder, go clean up, and go eat and sit with his family for sure. I don't know that he's in Delphi proper. I definitely believe he's in the community around Delphi. Yes, I think he's close. And I think that with whatever it is that he does, people know him and will recognize him. And no, I do not believe it's a woman. Yes, I do believe that Bridge Guy is the guy. He's the guy who committed this crime. And like I said, I believe this man is very I would be very surprised to find out that he's not religious or that he does not go to church. Yes, Rosewood, he's active in his community. And I, it's hard not to imagine that he wouldn't be, really. Well, when Perry said that, he was throwing it out there because, it's quite possible that it could be. I don't think, in my mind, I don't feel that it's a woman. I just don't feel this was a woman that committed these crimes. More than likely, if this man is married, no, his family has no idea what he does in the darkness. And he very well could be in law enforcement. He very well could be a firefighter. He could be any of those types of people in the community. He, in my opinion, he has a position of power because he likes to be in control and he likes the power. And it's just like Doug Carter said, we know this is about control to you. Power. We know this is about power to you. And I believe that. And sadly, we've talked about this here on my channel many times. Nobody knows anyone 100%. We all think we know each other, or we all think we know our family members or our friends, really well, and they would never do that. But you have to stop and ask yourself, how well do you really know someone? And you can't know someone 100% because you don't know what's going on in their mind. You just don't. And you don't know what they do when they're not in your sight. Hey, William. How are you? Welcome. And so, yeah, I mean, you have to know that we don't really know each other. And exactly. I was just talking about this the other night because there was a cop here locally, and I talked about it. I'm going to do a live on his case. But he was a serial rapist. He was married with children, and he had been on the force for a long time. And he was a serial rapist going around raping women over a 3 to 4 year period before he was caught. And it happens. And, I hear it all the time. Oh, it couldn't be somebody in law enforcement. Oh, it couldn't be somebody that's a firefighter. Really? Why couldn't it be? Um, so I think he's very, 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 very familiar with this area. There is no one that's going to go out there and walk across that bridge that didn't know the area, you guys. That bridge is scary. That bridge is not fun. It's worse now than it was then. But even then it was dangerous as heck, and it's still dangerous. And I think the only reason he hasn't done this again is because there's so much heat. There's so many people talking about the case. There's just too much. And to me, that's the only reason he hasn't tried to do something again. And I just, somebody could be protecting him. Somebody may know and is protecting him. Somebody may know and be afraid of him. And, I always said, because this is something that I've always wondered. This is one of my 5 things. Told you about that. Why weren't the girls caught or found? Why weren't the girls? I mean, if Bridge Guy wanted to murder that day, and he was just out there to kill, like some people have said, which I don't believe that was the case. When he approached the girls on the bridge, why didn't he just push them off? That bridge is 70 feet in the air. He pushes those girls off. They're not surviving. Why wouldn't you just push them off? So, the pylon, the main pylon on the the northwest side of the bridge is completely crumbling at the base, and it is going to collapse if they don't fix it. And the thing that's really crazy to me is that in 2015 they got a huge grant from the state and the federal government to do the repairs on that bridge, and they still, to this day in 2022, have not done those repairs. So you ask yourself, why is there corruption? Where's the corruption in Carroll County? Because I'm here to tell you guys, you got to follow the money. And I've said it before, there is a ton of money coming in to Carroll County, both for Delphi and for Flora. And somebody doesn't want these cases to be solved, because when they're solved, that money dries up, and they don't have that money anymore. And I want to know what happened to all of that grant money that was given to them to repair that bridge. And why hasn't it still not been done? Because the whole plan was to repair the bridge. They were going to pave the bridge so that it would be a walking path, and they were going to extend the trail on the southeast side. I mean, it's just insane. And, yeah, they upgraded the trail. They paved and upgraded the trail from the Hoosier Heartland Highway, from that bridge to the Monon High Bridge, which is what, mile and a half? Not sure exactly. And it's sad because we have all these dead little girls and all of these dead children and these dead women. And it's like, between the fires and Delphi itself, something stinks, really stinks in Carroll County. And I'm hoping that something happens. Something happens quickly. I know you guys do too. I know we all do. We pray for it every day. It's okay, Danielle. The reason that we say that is because YouTube does not like them. YouTube does not like capital letters. They feel that people are yelling. So we as creators, if we allow it in our chat, we can get in trouble. So that's why there's no caps allowed. It's not to be mean or anything. We just try not to use capital letters. Alicia, I hope Pinkard wins as well. I did watch the debate between Pinkard and Tony Liggett, because I don't feel it's fair to make a decision without listening to them. And by far, in my opinion, he's the best candidate for that job. And I also think he would be an unbiased eye coming in to take over the Delphi case and to really help the Flora case as well. And calm down now, Meow. We know how you feel. Yes, William, I do believe that this case will be solved. Absolutely 100% believe that this case will be solved. And so, but like I said, you guys, make sure you watch the captain's video because he did a fantastic job on this. And after I watched it, I thought, this would be a great conversation for us to have about some of the things that have gone on about this case over time. And, there's all this stuff out there about that this was drug related, that this was a payback killing for family members. There's just all different kinds of things out there. And it's a lot. There's a lot going on. There is an absolute lot going on. And just remember, when you do pay attention to some of these cases that we're talking about, because Unsolved is going to be doing a video about, or a live stream. I'm not sure. Maybe she changed her mind and now she's going to do a live stream about the Lafayette fire. Just keep an open mind, guys, because these cases are not just what they appear to be on the surface. There is so much more going on than meets the eye. And we can't just keep allowing it to go unchecked that there's all these fires and all of these children dying and nobody seems to care. Nobody seems to cover it. I just got an email sent to me today. Kristen, did you know that they had a fundraiser for Delphi over the weekend? And Rafael Sanchez was there, and he hasn't returned my call on covering Flora. But he will appear for a Delphi gathering. And I'm just like, it's just things like that, guys, that we're trying to fight against. I don't want the girls in Delphi to stop getting coverage. I don't want Raphael to stop covering this case. Abby and Libby so deserve justice. And I'm just telling you that there is more than meets the eye in these two cases. And there's a lot going on. And the more and more we delve into it behind the scenes, it's just, It's just crazy, the stuff that we're finding. Oh, that would be good. Unsolved, that would be good. So I'm looking forward to that. Jennifer, it's okay. People, have their right to get upset, but that's still the rule. It's not necessarily my rule. It's YouTube's rule. And I want to keep my channel in the good lane. I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. So I have to follow YouTube's content rules. So, and they don't like cussing. So, yes, occasionally I will swear, but it's not a good thing because you can actually get your channel shut down for it, believe it or not, because it is not family friendly and they don't like it. So it's not that I want my channel family friendly. I just want people to be respectful. And that's all. And we can choose to disagree and be respectful of one another. And I when I created my channel, I thought, I've got to have rules, whether people like them or not. I have to have them. Trust me, I don't have nearly the rules here that I have over on Reddit. I have a huge list of rules over there. So there you go. All right, guys, I'm going to get ready and get out of here, but I want to do my doors drawing. So you guys are my wonderful group, the Doors. Whoops. For all of you who are members of my channel, that is the group name, the Doors. I appreciate all of you who have joined my channel and become a member. I've got member content that's going to be coming. I'm working on it right now. And I'm excited about that. Hang on a second and let me get this, this giveaway ready to go. I just got to fill in a couple things here. For those of you who are brand new to my channel, please subscribe and like my channel and hit the bell so that you get notified when I go live or when I drop a new video. And one of the things that I've been doing new with the channel is that I'm doing a giveaway every live stream. Right now I'm giving away Abby and Libby bracelets, but I will be giving away other things as time goes on. I do have merchandise now, so be sure to check that out. I know my moderators have been really good tonight about dropping all of my information. Just check out Nightbot. If you're a member of my channel, you get membership both in my private Discord as well as my Facebook group. And to find me over on Reddit, if somebody will drop my Reddit subreddit in there, it's Delphi's Daughters. And that's where you can find me there. The hashtag tonight, you guys, is hashtag peace with a capital P. I thought that was something that would be good since we had some upset people tonight. But hashtag peace will get you entered into the drawing. And if you want to support me, you can also go to buymeacoffee.com and they drop that in there as well. And I don't drink coffee, but I love tea. So you guys can buy me a tea if you want to support me. So it's just another way to give support to the channel. And I do want to give you guys a little heads up and an announcement. I am so happy. I cannot tell you all the love and support I have received the past 6 months. I have officially, as of next week, been a YouTuber and a YouTube channel for 6 whole months, a half a year, and I can't believe it. And I was finally able, because of your generous donations to me and your generous support of this channel, I was able to upgrade my computer. And I'm getting my new computer. It'll be here on Thursday. And I'm telling you, I cannot wait to get it, because I'm hoping that my sound issues that I've had tomorrow. Thank you so, so much for your super sticker. I so appreciate it. Thank you so, so much. I just can't tell you how excited I am about that. It was the last thing that I really needed to do to have the whole complete setup. And it didn't take me that long to do it, 6 months. And I, like I said, I'm just really happy about that. And I hope that my content will just get that much better now. I'm going to be able to go back to making some videos. So I'm really excited. Thank you, guys. So I got 14 entries right now into the drawing. And if you guys do win, you just need to email me your information and I will send your bracelet right out. Oh, Michelle, thank you so much. You're pretty amazing yourself. Love you to death. Yeah, you're right, Rosewood. I will be up early that day. Can't wait. I'm so excited about it. Absolutely waiting, just waiting for them to come. So I'm going to go ahead here. If everybody's in, I'll give you one more minute. Hashtag peace. And then we'll draw. Hey, Boston Christian. How are you? Well, I hope you win, William. All right, here we go. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Unsolved. You are so kind. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you so much. All right, guys, you ready to see who won? Congratulations, Digital. So happy for you. Woohoo. So just email me. Oh, Miss Thang, you're still here, aren't you? Where are you? I just saw you. Where is she? Miss Thang has been a member of my channel for 4 months. Congratulations. Thank you so much for that support and love. I so appreciate it. I appreciate all of you guys. I really do. I couldn't do it without all of you guys' support. You guys make it worthwhile and you keep me honest. You keep me on my toes. You know, the one thing I found about when I found out about doing lives on YouTube, your critics are always going to be there. There's always someone there to critique you, tell you what you're not doing right. But you know what? There is so many more people telling you what you're doing right. There's so many people telling you what you're doing right. And that's the one thing that that I love about it. I was asked today about why I do this, and that was one of the things I said, is because the love that you guys show, and the appreciation. So thank you, William. Please come back. I hope that you do. I appreciate all of you guys. I saw a lot of new faces tonight, so I hope that you did enjoy the show. And I hope that you guys have a great Wednesday. I will see you on Thursday. I will still probably be live streaming on Thursday from this computer because I'll be setting my new one up. Excuse me. Hi, Boston. Huh. Well, I'm glad to find out that there's 2 other channels out there that love me. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, Michelle, you are so sweet. You are as well. And you bring a lot to this channel and to these cases. Even though Jennifer picks on you all the time, it's all right. Hey, Tech Death, honey, I hope you feel better really soon. Really soon. You know Delphi does that. All I have to do is remove Flora from my thumbnail and everybody comes to the Delphi show. I put Flora on it and people don't come as much. But it's getting better. More and more people are learning about Flora and getting understanding and starting to care. And that's all we hope. So, okay, Just Pam, I certainly will. Thank you so much for letting me know that. Yeah, I know she's your brat, but we love her. Jennifer is, I couldn't operate without her. She keeps me on my toes and makes me remember to do the things I'm supposed to do. So I love you all. To all my moderators, you guys all have a great evening, and I will see you all very, very soon. God bless you, and everyone be safe.